Well, they say every state is known for their fruit or vegetable. I wonder why that history class was so important. Well, I went to school before everybody else went to school. I learned all the states, all the presidents, all the politics, all the psychology, all the ecological systems, anatomy, folklore. I learned about history, ancient history, medieval times, art of war, Navy tactics, military tactics, Army tactics, Air Force tactics, Marine tactics, all kinds of stuff. The important part of that education that I got before I ever went to high school, which pretty much means I had above a college level reading level in second grade. And it said, well, they divided all this stuff up so that there would be unity, not division. It said, hey, we got this state for these fruits and vegetables, got this state for these fruits and vegetables, and every state had their own little niche. Not a bullshit nick, but a niche in society. So the other guys got together and said, well, we got the Nietzsche. See? Nietzsche. Need you to grow the stuff you guys are supposed to be growing. We're like, wait a minute. So the Pilgrims and the Indians landed at Plymouth Rock. They have a Chrysler Plymouth to remind people about the Plymouth Rock where the Indians and the Pilgrims helped each other. So they divided up all the crops and helped each other out. Just like they divided up all of the states to 50 states? So the 50 states each had a fruit or vegetable they were supposed to grow to remind everybody of the Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving dinner meant everybody sat down and everybody made their own little special dish and said, here you go, let's eat. So they had this state for this crop, this state for this crop. And when you pulled into a state, you see the sign, it says, hey, welcome to Florida, the citrus state. You're supposed to be growing oranges and stuff. Or hey, welcome to Idaho, the potato state, where they're growing potatoes. And each state can grow more than just an orange or a potato, farmlands. They say, hey, we're growing these crops. So they say, wait a minute, they can grow crops in space. Doesn't really matter about the climate because we have all this technology. We could make all kinds of stuff to grow stuff. The good life. Well, the good life is, if you build better technology to help out with that stuff, then you could live the good life. Now, the Star Wars wasn't the Star Wars project of how to brainwash people in these weird cults and shit. The Star Wars project was to remind people how to grow crops in successful communities with technology. You can drive through the northern states and see these little Habitat for Humanity houses housing crops to grow crops during the winter to help the South out with their education. Well, the rest of the United States got educational bills to get money to help design new technology. So we got the Space Center in Florida designing all this new technology with rockets and everything else. And we're rocket hopping from Texas to Florida, the tri-state area of Georgia. So we're wondering, with all that technology, where's the yield? I said Navy nuke. So, Mr. Kirk, it's the Navy nuke. To nuke your brains in the microwave to cook up something for technology to go, hey, you're hopping around with all these rockets and bullshit down there. You should have technology to be, they call them hoppers. Hopping and packing the dirt in the ground, build buildings with these little hoppers, building these buildings. Build all the buildings you want. If you ain't got food to eat, well, I guess that's just going, what are we going to eat? So we go, we should be growing crops. Florida's supposed to be known for being the citrus state. It's kind of hard to grow crops if you ain't planting seeds. So we got to plant those good mental seeds so that maybe people get better education. start with the simple things like how to plant crops. Oh, you mean you gotta grow food so that you can eat? Well, yeah. So they go, but we've got all these tourist attractions and fun zones and stuff. Well, that's all well and great, but the weather down there is better weather throughout the year, so they should have plenty of crops. But they don't have plenty of crops, so the North learn how to grow crops in the winter. So the South should probably get their stuff together and saying, we are farmers playing courthouse games. It should be, we are farmers growing crops out there in the fields and shit. You got plenty of tractors. Hey, you got Keep 'em Running down there in Titusville. Hey, Keep 'em Running. We're going to play a gambling game. Well, we got Keep 'em Running for your lawnmowers because you're mowing your grasses in your yards every day. But you ain't got any tractors out there planting crops. And they go, well, you know, my parents, they had an orange tree in the backyard and a lemon tree kind of grew together. And it's like, hey, we got a bunch of lemons in the state of Florida. So how do we turn lemon heads into like thinking people? And we go, well, the Brevard Sheriff's Department is going, we are farmers playing games with kids and drugs. So we're like, we ain't into that. They got a spectrum disorder. So they need to make a U-turn, get back on a right path, and send their kids to school instead of universal fucking brainwashing shit. There we go.